to get Got no virtual people today?
No virtual people.
Oh.
Hmm. Oh, that shiny sheet. Sorry.
I checked with Ben Park and Rec and your plan looks good to them.
Okay.
They said that if there were random people parked where you want, just
Just put them out of the way.
I'm towed. I'm over. Your equipment's bigger than
Yeah.
that.
See, you probably have a flatbed or something.
Yeah. I can load her with a set of forks.
See?
Those snow plows will come in.
Let's hope we don't need those anymore. I'm over that.
Never say never.
The 10-day forecast looks promising for no more snow, so I think we might be through it.
well, somebody said the other day that weather forecasters are the only ones who get kudos if they're 80% wrong.
So they're the only ones that can be doing their job and be wrong and keep their job. It's the only profession I know that works that way.
Oh,
I have some comments on that.
yeah, I know.
I know a few others.
Well,
Stop for
I won't talk about the politicians over it.
I don't want to beat up Noah too much right now, though, because they're hurt right now, so I'm gonna keep quiet on that one.
Does anyone need an agenda?
I don't have one, thing. Yeah. It printed it very oddly this time on my computer. I got this really weird.
Look at that.
But,
Oh.
hey, Matt.
How's it going?
Good.
Big for 'em.
Really got a quorum. People were saying, when you said we need a quorum, they showed up.
How we
Good
doing?
to see you again.
Yeah, saw him yesterday morning. Walking the dog on the river trail. All of a sudden he comes jogging by. We said morning to each other and then went,
That happens to me a lot. It's like
Double
after the
tip.
fact, you realize,
oh,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I know him.
Jim Reynolds.
Yeah.
How's it going? Good
Good.
to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a while. What?
I mean, I can.
Probably a year, yeah.
Go to my
Yeah.
computer and-
Redmond, I think.
I
Yeah,
think I can find.
Yeah, filling in for Chris again because he's on his trip.
yeah, nice.
Pat
Thanks.
Yeah.
And Megan's.
Actually got, yesterday, right after I
Realize I'm not-
Oh, is that right?
I was passed
Her last name.
and I think
I
talked
forgot to
with my
bring
friend and we were running and
that we were gonna recommend.
so
So
the dog was on the side on a leash. I passed the person. The dog just swung around. Dude,
You're not funny.
Oh,
which
no.
never happened.
I'm like, I got like three,
Wasn't too bad. Broke the
Great
skin,
they're all the
but it
same.
wasn't, a
And then when I went to print it, this is what
Yeah, it
I
was-
got. And I'm like, well, okay, that's really weird.
Paper route.
My computer has a mind of its own,
got attacked.
Well,
or it's user incompetence.
I had to click.
Although I did it the way I always do it every time. This is like, I got this one. I know how to do this.
Throw the paper up on
Right.
I have to ask my IT department for help on this.
the paper.
my husband.
Also, poor
Okay.
Pick up the other one. Will a dog.
We will get started for a little bit after 12.
Wow.
Doesn't look like anyone's online.
Wow. I think that's a first.
Yeah.
Paranoid that I gave the wrong link.
I know. It's always the same, so it should be fine. Here. All right, well, we'll just move on. Why don't we do introduction for, yeah, since there's one new person in the room today for your benefit. Start with you.
Yeah, Don Morehouse. I work with Chris here at ODOT. My title is transportation planner, and so I deal with a mix of long range, corridor studies, stuff like that, and then development review. An exciting aspect of my job, though, is the Ben Sisters Redmond active transportation plan that we're getting off the ground. Yeah, so pretty excited to work on that with Chris and all of you. Yeah. So, yeah, just filling in for Chris while he's out.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to get a lot more FaceTime with y'all.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, this way? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Tanya Saltzman, a senior planner, long range county staff liaison to BPAC.
Derek's here. Jennifer Letts, BPAC Chair.
David Green, BPAC Vice Chair.
Bob Nash, back.
I was gonna say, Redmond,
Redmond,
Wendy Holzman, BPAC member.
Chris Blake, Streets and Operations for the City of Bend.
Diane Flowers, BPAC member.
Not much on a BPAC member.
Dave Roth, BPAC member.
Derek Hoffbauer, Cascades East Transit, not a BPAC member.
But we're happy to have you here.
Thank
You
you.
want-
Thank you. I
you
feel like I
want like
should
that.
be.
Okay,
Nobody's by Zoom?
all right.
You want their.
Nobody online? They're still gonna believe that's the right address?
Yeah, the novel. Show
Mhm.
and.
Okay, all right, as long as we have that. Or we can talk about it together. Okay, so I'm gonna assume we don't have any public comments. Okay. Put those, put that hat on, but, okay, do we have approval of the prior minutes? March.
I'm,
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Chugging right along. We had a lot of stuff on the list today too, and some of it got added last second, so. We are gonna launch into kind of the biggest, not big, geez, there's a lot of big stuff on here. That's a big thing is that, the interview committee did, interviews, and for 3 positions, we have 3 positions that are open. In, Rachel and Mason, both messaged with them and both kind of agreed that they cannot fulfill the duties of BPAC right now, with lots of work and life things going on for both of them, and they felt bad for not being able to participate as much as they wanted to recently, so it was really kind of serendipitous, good timing, because we had already had the position open for one and had 4 applications, so it was nice to have 3 openings and.
Yeah, and Sabrina had also earlier
Right.
said that she was gonna be resigning.
Right, and that was the one that kind of kicked off the application process, so, of course told, Mason and Rachel, thanks so much for their service, and they're obviously always welcome, still on the mailing list, so hopefully we'll get to see them at some point, when they have time. And, but it gave us the opportunity, to be able to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. And we had 4 applicants, so it worked out really well. So it was Dave, Wendy and I were the committee, and we had 4 applicants, and they were 4 really good people. So it was.
Neil just joined us also. So,
Oh,
hey, Neil.
great, Neil.
Since I'm looking right at the screen, I can see. Looks good.
Hi, Neil. We're just going over the openings that we have. And we have 3 openings because Rachel and Mason both stepped down due to kind of personal and work commitments. So we had 4 applicants, 3 positions, 4 really strong applicants. So a good problem to have, but we know it did involve a little bit of discussion on our part, but we do have 3 names. We came to consensus, and we have 3 names that we want to recommend to the rest of you for new members. These were all at-large positions. The downside is that all 3 people do live in the city of Bend. Not a bad thing. It'd just be nice to have a little bit more variety in the county, but that's probably the worst thing that we can say about them, honestly.
Yeah. Group.
Yeah, so we have 3 individuals that Dave will tell you about, because I forgot to write their names down.
Patrick Adabo, who is the executive director of the Oregon Adaptive Sports Group. And so I think a lot of people know him, and he's been involved in stuff related to bike and peds for a long time. Megan Winchell. She's been a professional runner, and she now runs a hotel-ish like thing in Crooked River.
Cabins. I know
Cabins.
cabins at Crooked River.
Okay. And Kim Reynolds, who I think most people here know. She's worked for Commute Options for a long time. She's currently a
Consultant.
consultant with her own business doing transportation stuff, and she's got a lot of experience with radio announcing. So-
Really?
Yeah, that was her previous career. I didn't know that. Yeah.
She does some
Grant writing.
podcasts, a cooking podcast, and she's got her fingers in a lot of different pots, but
Well, most people know her as Kim Curley,
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
not Kim Reynolds.
And she's not sure which name she's going to use.
I think she's gonna stay with Curly.
Okay.
Yeah, one's her married name, one's her radio name, so she kind of bounced back and forth. Her persona. Yeah, the fourth individual was very tempting as well, and I think the only reason why he dropped off the list, he was younger, he actually lived in the county, he didn't live in the city. And he did say part of the attraction to this committee was that he can't ever get on any committees in the city because he lives right outside the city limits, and so so I kind of felt bad about that. He seemed to have he said his work schedule would accommodate this. However, we were kind of feeling that he did have a pretty busy work schedule, and we had a difficult time finding a time to even interview him. You know, so if we were gonna have to be nitpicky at this point, because otherwise he was a strong candidate, but that's kind of where he landed. We just felt like it might be a struggle for him to participate as fully as the rest of them could, because they all had flexible schedules. That they said, that, you know, because that was a big question. It was like, can you make the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, can you participate one way or another? And they said that they all could. And so, yeah, with that, you know, we're just gonna need to, I'm assuming, I didn't double check the rules, vote on the new members. I think we vote on the new
Yes,
members.
last
I
time
don't
we did it, you might recall the slips of paper.
Oh, that's right.
Don't have that today.
I could,
We can do we have,
yeah, like we could scribble something really quick,
Or we could just
or
vote.
we could
or
just
just
do
in
a
public.
public vote. Yeah,
Just do it publicly, I think, if everyone's okay with that.
yeah. And do we need to vote on them individually?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and we only need to just kind of offer up the vote on the three people we're recommending.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm thinking as well.
I move that we nominate to the Board of County Commissioners Patrick Adabo as
Board BPAC. Oh, are you saying a forward
For their
county
approval.
commission? The forward, okay, I thought to the county. And I was like,
They
Uh,
do have final,
right.
us.
just heard it a little backwards there. Okay.
as a member of, new member of BPAC.
A second.
Okay, so now we vote, right?
Yeah.
There's discussion.
Oh,
There's discussion, and this is
Patrick Adabo.
Patrick Adabo, okay.
So moved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
all those in favor, say aye. Any nays? Thank you, Neil. Okay,
That's
Okay.
great.
I'll move that we ask the Board of County Commissioners to appoint Megan Winchell to the BPAC as a member at large.
second,
Second.
all right,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, Neil's got the Boy Scout. Wait there.
And I move that we ask the Board of County Commissioners to appoint Kim Reynolds to the BPAC as a member at large. Kim Curly Reynolds. Make sure.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
No,
Aye.
Right.
Big eye.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much for making sure that we had a quorum, because we were a little worried about that. We lost so many members. It wouldn't take a lot of us to not meet quorum, so I appreciate that. Excited. I think they all bring different skill sets and backgrounds, and I think they're gonna be great addition, and it'll be nice to bring on three people at one time as well, and hopefully we don't have to do this for a while, because
One thing I liked about really strong on accessibility, which I think is a voice that is good for us to hear in this group. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah,
And a very, very personal aside, I happened to read this fantastic article about Patrick. And they took a group of veterans from Ukraine who had lost a leg up to Hoodoo. And we're teaching them to ski with the pole so that they could take that back to Europe, to Ukraine, to the area and help other veterans do that. So I just feel like, I think he's going to be a really great addition to the committee.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they all will. So, and then big thanks to the interview committee and,
Mhm.
because there was, a lot of,
Well,
not
thanks
used to
for-
doing 4 interviews.
Yeah, thanks for,
Yeah, you
Doing all the-
motivated us.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit, but it's fine. It's exciting to get that done and have some new members, so.
So the next step is for me to bring it to the board for consent agenda, which is usually a just procedural thing. So their deadlines are usually Wednesday, so I'll get that next week, so it'll be for the following week. I'll let you know when it's done.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah. And we warned them that it would take a while because you interviewed them like a month ago. Because it was right after, I think, our last meeting, so.
And then will you let the fourth person,
Yeah,
someone?
Yeah.
know?
I can let them know, yeah. Should do that. Completely hanging. Okay, next up is Safe Sidewalks Awards update. Tanya, if you can
Yeah.
speak to that, and I don't know if everybody got to see the
Yes, the list.
truncated list that Dave put together, so appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, that was super helpful. I mean, we got so many nominations. It was great. I never
Biggest
checked my
list.
physical mail at the office and people kept dumping stuff on my desk. People were mailing them, which I thought was great. So I think it was, I mean, Dave did all the number crunching, but we had 32 submissions for 22 people. There was definitely some, preferred, they got their neighbors organized, but they were all kind of great stories, I think. I just enjoyed reading them, especially the time. It was just a little bright spot, but in the past, we've gotten like maybe 10 nominations and we gave them all, the award is like, you get to go to a Board of County Commissioners meeting and you get a certificate. And you get a photo op and people's families come and it's great. And it's usually covered in the press to some degree. So I guess the question for the group is, do we do that for all 22 people or not? I mean, I see pros and cons for both. Like on one hand, how could we possibly select just some people? And it kind of might be amazing to just like flood the room with people and just make a spectacle out of it. That's my personal opinion, but
I
whatever.
think that would be the most people at a county commission meeting.
Yeah.
You weren't there last week.
So for what it's worth, institutional knowledge is we have always put in for every single person, and I think we should definitely do it this time. I don't care if it's 20 people doing a photo op with the Board of County Commissioners if they want to be included,
Yeah.
but I think it's really important that we do it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and if, we can do it once, and if they don't like it, they'll tell us.
Yeah,
Too
they
many
will.
people,
Yeah.
so, but I think,
But how can they say we don't want people clearing sidewalks when it snows? I mean, that's a negative message to send, that you're only going to award it to some of you, but not all of you.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Clear the snow the best.
the thing that struck me is none of them jumped out as doing more than the others. So they're very, very uniform efforts.
A lot of fairly elderly people,
Yeah.
which was very impressive. Yeah, it was great.
Who makes the announcement during the meeting? Is it? That's a recommendation from BPAC and then the county commissioners do the acknowledgement.
Oh, for the safe sidewalks, it's just, gosh, how have we done it? It's not even a recommendation to the board. It's us being like, we're awarding this.
Yes, okay.
And in the past, it's been at a board meeting when we do the annual report. So it was Dave at the time, Dave Thompson doing the annual report. And then I believe he announced the people name by name. And then there was the whole thing.
And we send out an invitation to let them know ahead of time that this is going to be happening if they
Yeah.
would like to be there, kind of thing.
And a lot of them bring their families.
Yeah, it's like it's a thing.
I've gone once or twice before. Just thinking that since we have a big group that's going to be there, maybe focusing more on the community and the diversity of folks that are being acknowledged for it and how it helps the whole group and their neighbors, all that kind of good stuff. Just might be worthwhile to try to get that energy moving, continuing for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say I've been in conversations with our communications person at the county, and she was like, so why do you award these when it's almost summer? When people were talking about shoveling snow, and it's basically usually that mid-end of May that we get around to doing this because it coincides with the annual report. And I was like, that's a good question. So I don't know if people have thoughts on that. It seems, I get her point, but it's also sort of, do we want to go in front of the board? To separate it out might be a bit much. I don't know. We could do it. We could just shove ourselves onto the agenda, but it's so close to that time. So I don't know if it's beneficial, maybe in the future. I don't know. She just put it out there for consideration and.
Yeah, I think that having the update and the awards at the same time is great, because then you're getting people that are community minded or getting celebrated. You pack the house for our
Yeah,
update as well.
yeah.
I think there's, mutual benefits to doing
And
that.
we're celebrating the work that they did, not the work they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
if we did the awards in the fall before snow season, we might.
That would,
For award, fewer nominations.
right.
And because the awards didn't close until March.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I guess in theory, in the future, we could have it like the end of March, but is it that much of a difference? And some of them also noticed about, or talked about clearing trees and brush and stuff, so non-snow related items.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's fine to keep it with the annual report if you all are. I just told her I'd bring it up.
Administratively, is that a huge task? Like, if we had 50 people, I mean, 20 some is a lot, but does it add, or do we get like certificates or?
I mean, I
Sounds
just
like-
make the certificates in a tablet and Word and just hope for the best.
Okay.
Like, standing over the printer, like hoping that it doesn't clog because I use cardstock. That's
Yeah.
the challenge of this aspect.
Yeah,
It's sort of a very rewarding task. So it's easy. It doesn't cost anything. It's just
Okay.
a little time. And as far as bringing them to the meeting, I would probably give the administrator just a heads up that we're going to have a lot of people, and if they, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a public meeting, yeah, anybody
Yeah,
can
I mean,
go.
there's plenty of people, there's plenty of times when board meetings are packed full of angry people. So I think it's okay to have happy people.
That's right.
Yes.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think there's critical mass of, it would be nice to have so many people who did such a good job on recognizing it. I mean, the more people that, it just, people see a mass of people doing something, then it's like the buy-in, right? Like, oh, well, a lot of people are doing this, I'll do it. Maybe I should do it too. Normalizing it, right? When it's kind of like 3 people, then
Yeah.
I think that, there's just a lot more impact here, so.
And a lot of people in their submissions were like, we love this positive reinforcement, which I thought was really nice. Normally how I roll.
Yeah.
I want to give a sidewalk shame awards, but I think.
I think that'd be the city plowing the road and covering a nicely clean sidewalk. The city should get that award.
My fist at people. But so I think all in all, it's very positive. And so I can
And don't do that.
accommodate, we'll figure out how this works with the annual reporting. So Yeah.
Even got a celebrity, Brooke Snavely,
he's a nominee or the, I don't.
a nominee. He's
All
on
right, yeah, he's.
Is he a celebrity?
CO Daily, right? CO Daily?
Someone.
Yeah. Florida Daily.
Oh, could be on TV.
Yeah.
Brooke has been in Central Oregon news for what, 30 years now plus?
Really?
Long time.
Yeah.
Two people from Sisters, which is impressive because we don't have that many sidewalks. That's cool.
Sidewalk.
Okay, yeah, I know. A lot of whales and paths and weird things.
Okay, so I don't know if we should correspond with them to just say, you won, and stay tuned for a date in May or something, just so we don't leave them hanging.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
you'll be awarded a Safe Sidewalk Award or, something like that. It's not really winning, but yeah.
They're all winners.
Okay, that's fine. We're all winners.
yeah, totally
So much winning right now in our country.
appropriate for participation.
I'm sick of it. I hope you.
Could be a loser for a while.
I mean,
Need to pick me up.
no. There's a nominee and a recipient. I think
And this
most of
is-
them have a.
And it's framed as Deschutes County BPAC award, or is it a Deschutes County award?
BPAC.
BPAC, award, okay.
Safe sidewalk.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes,
I think it makes sense to do the recognition all together, but I think your coworker's question about the timing when it's not snowy is just like it's important to recognize that like some part of the reason that we do this is to have that like positive reinforcement message when people are actually shoveling.
Yeah.
And so I'm like even wondering if even doing this, like we get the press and it's like really helpful, but it's like kind of at the wrong time. So I still think it makes sense to do it this way, but I'm almost wondering if when we do our announcement next year, which I feel like we normally do kind of tied with the first set of storms, if that we like announce last year's winners and the opening up of it just timed with a storm. So you like prep the press release, prep the everything else, identify last year's winners, and like that's the opportunity that you're able to kind of lean into all this. Cause then that would be like also cueing all of those people again to remind their friends and like reach back out.
So announcing them twice, like once
Right.
now and once later.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep, and also guilt them into doing it again.
Totally.
So.
Right.
We could have hundreds of people we have to give this award to.
We could have a whole alumni network
Yeah.
and there could be, we could all have to shovel our way to the ODOT office.
It is funny because when I guess we did an initial press release and I had to be interviewed for a couple of them, which was great. And one of the reporters tried to contact previous winners to get like their comments, and none of them wanted to be interviewed or on, mentioned by the press, which I thought was funny. But,
Well, we have Brooke now.
yeah.
You can interview yourself
Him.
or him, yeah.
I think the email coming, since they submitted it to
me,
you, I think the email coming from the county would be better.
Sure.
But we can certainly help you put that together and you help with that, or if you're,
Can probably figure.
okay,
Yeah, so I'll just, you won, stay tuned. We're gonna have an award ceremony and like
okay,
circle back,
Sounds good.
okay,
but nicer than that.
yeah. Yeah, because it'd be good for us to know as soon as possible what day we think that's gonna be too, so we can, if some of us want to come.
Right, and that'll depend on the annual report.
Yeah, right, but we also
Yeah.
do.
Okay, so I'm on that.
Your current secretary. Or is that
Don't
Sabrina?
have one. That was Sabrina. And we were kind of waffling on whether we really needed a secretary. Good question.
I feel like the annual report was one of the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why, yeah. I don't know, list here. Couple things off this list, maybe we'll circle back to that. Okay, I put something on there that I'm supposed to talk about and now I don't remember what it is.
Oh,
Cause this was the thing that,
The Oregon BPAC.
yeah, Dave.
Dave Thompson messaged us about. Oh, it's been such a busy week.
I don't remember either.
July.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can read it. Dave Thompson messaged us about a month ago to talk about a couple other things, but yeah, I think they're trying to set up the Oregon BPAC meeting in Bend. That's right. It was kind of a 2-day thing.
Okay.
Yeah, for the Oregon BPAC. And they kind of wanted to set it up like a 2-day thing, maybe kind of meetings one day and a field visit or something the second day. Let me get more information on that. I can't remember if he had a specific ask from us or just wanted us to know about it. So
Do we know rough dates?
July,
I don't think he had dates yet.
no.
Yeah, I would have put him on there. Okay.
Makes
Sorry about that. I felt like there was something else I needed to add to that. Back on that. I will add that, I did talk to, Sheriff Vanderkamp this week and I think, at another event, but I did say, I know that there was this interest in having law enforcement participate again, because right? You said there you used to have, and also on the email list, when I send it out and I get the ones that bounce back and people retire and I know Clint Burley from Ben Police was on our email list,
Mhm.
bounced back saying that he had retired. So it was kind of reminded me of follow up. And so I got to cross paths with the sheriff and one of his captains, and I said it'd be really great if we had somebody, especially from the sheriff's department, since this is a county committee and this captain was like, oh, I know the perfect guy. He's a biker. He's a patrol guy. I'll get him hooked up with you guys. So, and this was just a couple days ago, so I figured he probably wasn't gonna make this meeting, but I did send him our calendar for the next few months at least, so hopefully, I don't remember the name of the person. He just kind of mentioned him offhand, so hopefully we'll have somebody,
To start
conveniently located, for them as well, so, yeah, it'd be great to have that.
It was nice when we had the officer from the Bend Police Department.
Mhm.
We didn't interact with him in every meeting, but it was nice to every once in a while be able to bounce stuff off him. I thought it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and also kind of highlighting that it is kind of a networking opportunity. Sometimes other agencies here, so might just be useful for him as well, so. So, yeah, I'm not here yet, but hopefully that's a win. Did you have something? Or was it the
Just when we get to the summit.
summit? Okay, yeah, some summit stuff. Okay, I thought there was one other thing, but.
Oh. The ODOT Revere project is.
Oh, that's right.
Had another meeting and they've produced 3 alternatives for Revere between 4th Street and Wall Street. They have a 3-lane proposal, a 4-lane proposal, and a 5-lane proposal. And they essentially said that the 5-lane proposal is off the table because they'd have to acquire too much right of way. The 3-lane proposal, they're very concerned that it's going to back traffic up onto the Parkway and other places. And so they're really looking at the 4-lane proposal, which doesn't change the width of the road very much. But they're going to change the organization of the lanes dramatically so that they have room for people going where people want to go instead of just a standard 2x2 template. It'll also include 10-foot multi-use paths on both sides of the street, all the way from 4th Street to Wall Street, which is a really big because biking between for 4th Street to Division is really dangerous right now.
So would that be a separate asphalt walkway or is it a sidewalk?
It's a 10-foot separate walkway for bikes and pedestrians.
Cool.
Some sidewalks in that area, so the sidewalks would come out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Put a planting strip between the curb and the path.
Nice.
So there'll be place for snow to go and things like that. The other major thing that they're going to do is the signal at Division and the signal for the railroad are not in sync right now. And so they sometimes get people trapped between the street and the railroad. And so they're going to work on that. And they're also setting it up so that what they do this time will prepare that intersection to be a quiet railroad crossing in the future.
Oh,
Right now, the crossings are so close together, they have to get all of them fixed before they can turn on the quiet part of the railroad.
So basically they won't have to blast their horn.
They won't have to blast their horn all the way from at least Empire all the way through. Where's the next? Would be I think Wilson would be the next on-street crossing.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Wow.
Oh.
Cool.
Well, now they just have to find them. Well, they have to
The money.
find the money and finish the plan.
Yeah.
And Don knows all about that.
They have an estimate, once they get the funds as to when they might start this and.
No.
Okay.
Not going to give us any dates. Oh, the other thing is they're gonna put a stoplight in at Fourth and Revere.
Hmm.
So there'll be a stoplight at both at Fourth and at Third, which is kind of
Really?
interesting.
Yeah, it's got a four-way stop right now, doesn't it?
There's a four-way stop now,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Surprised they're doing that because
Impressive.
it's
Yeah.
it's not an intersection that really has. It's got traffic, but it's not like it backs up forever through there.
It's
apparently a couple
Those are
times
pretty
a
good.
day it backs up from Fourth all the way past Third Street.
yeah, like 5 o'clock.
Oh,
I take that route home and it merges into one lane
Yeah,
for
it
the
does.
four-way stop.
Yeah.
And that's where the pinch happens and
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so will they be timed lights so that, because you get on 20 going in the city and those lights are that backs up 20 because they're not timed well.
A lot of those lights are older, so they don't have that capability
Yeah.
of altering them at their headquarters through their dispatch unit. So when they upgrade them, they can adjust the times as they watch the camera feeds.
Yeah.
So,
So I think they'll redo the lights at Third and then put in new ones at Fourth. So they'll have a lot of capability that they don't have now.
because a lot of our lights are older, they have to be on site to adjust them.
Is there someplace we can see those proposals? What those for?
I can mail the presentation out, but there's no notes about the discussion or anything at this point. So if you're interested, I can.
I'd be interested
Yeah,
to see what.
okay. Sure.
And you were there as a representative of Ben Bikes
A BPAC.
or BPAC?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks. Very interesting.
What, they're not putting roundabouts in? They're putting lights in? I didn't think we did lights anymore.
There's not enough room.
There's not enough.
Yeah.
Real estate's a little expensive.
No.
When I
My
was,
husband said something about that the other day, bring a light in. I'm like, I don't even know if Ben puts lights in. I think everything's a roundabout, but I understand you have to have that room to do it.
yeah, in Belize, there was roundabouts. And I thought, oh yeah, well, this is a former British colony, of course. They're like, no, it's actually a new thing. You could tell they were actually, pretty new. So, the main roads, highways, some of them are really new. Or well, newly done. And they're like, no, it's a new thing. Oh, okay. Well, do we want to talk about, I know we talked about this like a year ago, the needing a secretary. We got a couple minutes. Do we want to talk about that? Or I know I didn't have it on the agenda. Or we don't have to, but because I know we kind of went back and forth on the value of having a designated person, and obviously that was, I think, the top thing was putting together a report. Or, I mean, if that's basically kind of the heavy lift, is it something that we could just kind of assign to a couple people every year to do? I don't have an opinion either way.
Generally, the only time the secretary has anything to do is just before we do the report, because all of our meetings are just basically taken
Yeah.
by Tanya, so I.
Also did a great job of putting together those reports, and it's a little bit of a big lift, so.
But we did change the format. It used to include
Right.
a whole lot, like all
Yeah.
the minutes, basically.
Right. So now we've condensed it
Like a
down quite a bit.
Updated version.
Yeah,
Not to finish short.
It's more of a highlighter. It's not
Yeah,
the whole freaking
yeah.
9 yards.
Right.
So we
Because
probably don't really need
Why
it.
don't we see how it goes this year with volunteers? And then if that doesn't work,
yeah.
It's also one of the hardest positions to fill. It's hard to get people to raise their hand for that. position.
Yeah.
yeah. Vice chair doesn't have anything to do.
Maybe we should just put a slash.
Sorry.
yeah.
Vice Chair / secretary.
You started that.
I know when we did
Steps in it.
that voting the last time around, someone put my name in for secretary. I'm like, no.
All right, we'll just stay with status quo for now and we'll see how it goes. But
that sounds good. Yeah, I think my only other question, just checking in with Tanya and making sure like if there's not regular monthly to-dos, then I think moving to like a working team or subcommittee to pull that off feels like, adequate, so.
Okay.
And the only reason we don't need a secretary is because Tanya is wonderful.
Yeah.
Tanya is amazing.
Very. Very overeducated.
We started doing
very-
our minutes for our planning commission, our HRC with AI.
Oh,
Don't do that.
Oh,
It makes stuff up. It's like, and then,
Yeah.
Jennifer made a motion to do this and we're like, that didn't happen. Literally just pull stuff out of thin air. It's terrifying.
Oh, that's,
Don't do that. Have you? I mean, maybe we're doing the wrong one, but like, and it,
Oh, no, we've had amazing
okay, we'll have
success.
to talk.
Yeah.
Had some, yeah.
I used to have one person that was pretty much their job was to keep track of all the minutes and put it together, and now she just truths it. And it's like,
Yeah.
cut down on the time dramatically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk.
One funny thing, we just use that when you're in a meeting room like that, it tries to attribute things based on people's names. And we were doing it for commute options and it kept saying commute, thinking that was our first name, last name option. Commute agreed to do this and commute agreed to do that.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's one thing we had to change is they actually had to say their name when they were
Yeah.
making a motion or
Yeah.
moving something forward, so.
Right.
yeah, we have to take a monthly, with the city, monthly, security training, online security training, and last month's was on AI, and it didn't seem to have anything good to say about AI. It was basically like, well, it can be helpful sometimes, but for the most part, don't trust any, it was like, that was like reading between the lines. Don't trust anything it says because it will give you an answer. It
Yeah,
will never
sure
say,
enough.
I don't know. It will always give you an answer.
may not like the
I
answer.
mean, yeah,
Off topic, but we went on a trip recently and we asked AI to come up with an agenda for us and gave what we're interested in. And it put it all together. And it took like, instead of having 5 people plan, that whole thing planned it out and then we could throw in or put in whatever we wanted. It worked out great.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, there's some uses for it, but yeah,
and plus, that's nothing important. You can just throw it out if you don't like it, right?
Yeah.
So.
yeah, right. Okay, let's talk summit. It is very, very close. We want to
very
be going.
close. Yeah, and
right,
I
Dave.
think we've got all the financials worked out between 5 organizations
Oh my God.
and 2 charges. It took hours
Oh.
to get money moved around for $125.
No, it's not done,
So
but
it's getting close.
it's getting close. But yeah, definitely this stuff
Oh.
time for all of us.
So my
Well,
big
25.
takeaway from next year
We'll
is
bring
that
our cans in next year,
Yeah.
I think.
we have 3 government agencies, 2 nonprofits, and of course, all of them have completely different financial whatever's. So
Okay,
anyway,
Offer a deposit on a room that we will get back as long as we don't totally trash.
$125 that stay with the park district.
Oh, just. Okay.
So and
Not worth the hassle is what I'm hearing.
not worth,
No.
yeah, well, I think if I had known differently, we would have just had everybody send Tanya a check. Have Tanya send,
yeah.
send, send it in. So I think we can organize it much better next year.
Let's just pass the hat next year.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the hat, yeah. Except
Yeah.
then we've got to get money from the hat to,
Right.
okay. So we're really close. All of the presenters have confirmed. And I've been in contact with all of them, so I think that that's going to go smoothly. I drafted Jennifer to sort of greet people coming in and say hello.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I'm gonna work with the presenters to get their presentations onto my laptop so we can display things easily. So that's what I'll be doing. Bob has volunteered to pick up the coffee at Strictly Organic and set up the copy thing. So that's a big help. Diane offered, and I expanded her offer to organize the chair setup. So we're gonna have about 80 to 100 chairs to set up in the room. And Dave Roth offered to help with that. Is anybody else going to be there at 8:30 to help with putting chairs up?
I have some conflicts that day, but I can help out with that part.
Cool, thanks. And then I think we can grab people from the crowd to help with that as well.
I should be there a little bit early so I can,
Okay,
chairs,
okay.
gonna give my neck and shoulders issues, but we'll do what we can.
What's the earliest we can get in there?
8:30.
Okay.
Yep.
And we can't come in the night before and set up?
They're very, I mean, I didn't ask them explicitly, but their directions are very clear that nobody gets in early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very strict. Wow.
So
You're all gonna be running.
yeah, lunch, it was also another interesting.
Yeah.
I talked to several delis in town. And some of them would have offered to make lunch for the group if we were paying them ahead of time. But none of them were interested in doing what we did last year at Sun River, which is take individual orders and send them in as a group. In fact, a couple of them said, well, they all said, no, we just don't do that. So they all recommended, everybody had the same recommendation, was that we just make people have individual orders and have DoorDash deliver them. So I thought we would just have at the entrance, we would just have a couple of URLs for people to talk to the deli that they liked and order and have it delivered.
Are there any delis right close there that people at noon could just go over and get a sandwich and come back?
I thought of that. It's about a 10-minute walk to the old mill. And then if they eat and walk back, I'm afraid that we would disrupt the presentation that's coming from Portland.
Now, is there an actual deli that you could just go get and then come back and eat it there?
The Yum is the closest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about like New York Sub Shop and have everybody order there and have one person pick it up and bring it back? I just don't.
That's the one up at the, yeah, I tried to talk to them and they were closed the day I wanted to talk to them, so I didn't talk to them.
They just do a lot of, for meetings and they do a lot of that kind of stuff. And so just thinking it might be, if it just needs somebody to run it, grab them, bring it back.
Yeah.
So when people
Yeah.
order, they'll have to specify I'm with BPAC and they'll group it all together to bring it over? Or it's-
No,
So it's gonna be.
they won't even do
different
that.
DoorDash orders.
Yeah, they thought that DoorDash would probably group up
Okay.
things a little bit, but that it might be multiple deliveries. It's really, it's a really unsatisfactory result.
If we had,
Kind of against what we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great,
No.
yeah.
if we had budget, would we be able to just buy a number, like depending on registration, buy a number of large subs of different varieties and
Yeah, the
offer?
Beach Hut Deli, I think it's called, they make big sandwiches and chop them up for people or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you've had experience with New York Deli, then maybe it's worth following up with them.
Maybe I could give them a call after the meeting and see if that's something they
Okay.
do or not do and then get back with you.
Yeah, that would be great.
I just know that like I've done some like big cleanup events and they've always been willing to just, at those, they actually just brought their truck and then provided everything out of their truck for everybody that went there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's-
Yeah,
Food truck, yeah.
That's a whole different thing with probably with they probably don't allow it there, Fed Park and Rec there, so that'd be a different deal. So my guess is it'd just be if we could just order all the group together, same place, and then have one person run back. I'll call them and find out.
okay, thank you.
If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll go to the other one.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe getting too close to do something, an order where we,
Yeah, we would need to know what time they would need the order, like 10 o'clock. So, Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because did they say if there's any issue with having like a truck on site or something like that, or did you?
No, I talked to, there's a organization that claims to be an umbrella group for, food trucks in town. And I, put in our specifications and didn't hear anything back. So they weren't.
That's not uncommon, yeah. Could you tell me about how many people, so like if I were gonna give them a heads up with,
So we have about
50.
50 people signed up.
Yeah.
And I expect we'll have more that day. Cause I looked through Matt's list and there were people that I know are gonna be there that haven't signed up.
so asking someplace to make 70 sandwiches at a drop of a hat's probably not realistic either. But I'll ask.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, I would guess that, I don't know, 50% of the people that are gonna be there would order lunch.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
75%, something like that.
Not everyone.
Bringing my own.
I think my sense is we'll have a lot of people leave around lunch.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, unfortunate, but also I think for some people they'll. So yeah, I would guess 30, 40, maybe 50. Yeah. So
Okay.
And how many of us have signed up? Because I haven't.
I haven't signed up yet. And then unfortunately, what you sent out said, you can sign up here, but you don't have to sign up. So you could have people that are gonna be there
Absolutely.
that saw that and, oh, okay, I'll just show up. So
Yeah.
hard to say.
So yeah, add another 10 to 15 here to who signed up and, yeah, I know that stuff is always hard to, especially with food, it's always hard to figure that out.
If you could get a food truck to park right across the street, like in that empty lot.
You could, but the biggest problem with food trucks is they want a guaranteed
Yeah,
upfront
you're right.
money. I ran into that on a couple other
Yeah, they had a,
cities where they
short
flat
notice.
said, oh yeah, we'll come set up, you gotta pay us $1,000 up front.
Yeah.
And then you got a guarantee
so if you
on
sell
top of that.
$800 worth of sandwiches, then you gotta pony up another $200.
But, we, in, Sisters, we use Oliver Lemons a lot. Cause they have a deli, they make sandwiches, stuff like that, and they, it's maybe Newport Market
Oh,
might be able to do it. Like, we'd have to go pick it up, you know?
Yeah.
But. Does new, I can't,
They have a deli,
What's the new market there in Colorado? Do it too.
oh,
so market of choice.
market of your choice. Yeah.
Um,
They have a big deli.
I do.
They're pretty close.
We get Bend electric bikes to get their cargo bikes and bring it and deliver it.
That would be cool.
They do that stuff all the time.
yeah, so yeah.
So Mark, you're
If you
gonna,
need, yeah, help with people.
I'm not gonna be able to do, I'm tied up for the
Okay.
next week.
Sure.
But if Mark, you can check with,
I'll just give them a phone call after this meeting or drive by and talk to them and see if they're able to or not.
yeah.
I'll let you know.
Great.
Yeah, if somebody want to look into Market of Choice and Newport Market to see if that was something they could. I mean, it seems like it probably, well, I don't know, it might be like. Getting in the weeds here. Sisters, it's just you fill out a paper form and they make it your sandwich and,
mhm.
or like, it could be something where you just say, look, we're gonna have a lot of people, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna make these we're just gonna make a lot of these 3 kind of sandwiches a day, and then. Those are the 3 choices people get, and then. Then they're at least. Pre-made everything.
They usually want money up front for that though, because if,
Yeah,
if they don't sell them, they're stuck with all these sandwiches that they've made.
yeah, okay.
So I can go before because they
Well, they do this with the trays and.
deli trays are not, they're pretty
Yeah.
affordable. I think the issue I'm seeing is just like the cost up front.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think through, if we provide sandwiches, like if Envision Ben is able to go, do that, if there's a way to have like a link for suggested donation of $5 or $10 or something to help cover the costs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people would do that.
Use it as a fundraiser.
Yeah. Making
Still
sandwiches.
fun, yeah.
Fun loser.
No, I don't know. I'm just trying to think through. I was going to this event Oh, I think I would read it and bring my own lunch probably, or I don't know. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
how people will respond.
She
so.
didn't explicitly put it on the. Is it on like the poster or?
No, I don't know.
Darn it, this is why we need Kim Curley. I know last time we did it at Ben Park and Rec, Kim organized the whole lunch thing and she took care of it.
Mhm.
She's now a member, right?
I know, but well, she officially has to
Yeah.
do the other.
Number
Part
purgatory.
of the interview process.
Some probation.
Yeah. That's right. On probation, if you could pull this off, Kim,
Yep.
you're in.
So moving on from lunch, we have Matt and Bob have agreed to do icebreakers. And I can do one if nobody else wants to. I've been thinking that maybe the first icebreaker would be, what are you gonna have for lunch? And
Yeah.
how to get lunch organized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did anybody want to do an icebreaker besides Bob and Matt?
What's our first presentation or first official thing besides an icebreaker?
The mayor is gonna talk and then Phil Chang will talk and then we'll have an icebreaker after that, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe,
You're an elected official. Why don't you do one of these icebreakers after?
I'm the greeter.
Yeah, happy to do one.
She's done this before.
Go to a sandwich. Having fair.
distribute lunches. I'm not sure what's gonna be needed there. We probably need to have somebody greet all the DoorDash drivers and step up if we go there.
I guess what, we just need a table set up where people can put things on the table.
Okay.
It's so hard.
Chair takedown and clean the room. Who is not gonna, Dave, you're not gonna be there.
No, I gotta leave.
Yeah.
I gotta go to Redmond for COAC.
I do as
Oh.
well.
Oh, you
Yeah.
have to leave too, okay.
Might have to be
And then I need to be on the,
big meetings.
oh, you're not.
I don't know if I'm gonna, I might need to duck out early because I have to go to the.
Okay.
planning
Okay,
commission.
I can be there for cleanup. Sorry, my camera's not working anymore. I have a meeting in the middle of the day as well, but I'll be there for setup and cleanup and as much of the meeting I can make
And I
it.
can-
great,
I'll be there at the end.
okay.
I want to do the walking tour, but that's the tricky part with it.
Well, I think we can announce right at the end if you can pick up your chair.
Pick
and
up your chair,
rack.
that way, then we can get going on our walking.
That'll help.
tour.
It's that
Okay.
kind of crowd.
Yeah, Neil and Diane will, that'll be great. And then Bob, are you gonna be available to take the copy stuff back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. And then the walking tour. I think we're set there, so,
So,
okay, good. I think we're as organized as we're gonna get.
And you have everything you need for your stuff?
Yeah, mine just rolls in, rolls out.
Okay.
and knocks any cars out of the way that happen to be where they're not.
I know, yeah, I can't pick up sandwiches.
Can, we can load her over to the sandwich shop.
Yeah.
Bring the bucket up.
Chris, are you gonna be there for lunch? I mean, are you gonna be set up for lunch or just at 2 o'clock?
No, we'll be set up before that.
Okay, all right, we'll
So-
just make sure that people know at breaks and lunch that they can go.
Yeah, Yeah, I figured if we could get that, then maybe they could go out and look at stuff a little bit early.
Yeah.
or Whatever, but I mean, if you get it all dialed in where you need somebody just to pick everything up, we can probably send one of our employees over with,
Oh,
we've got a couple SUVs that we could send over and pick that stuff up.
okay.
So
All right,
it's just,
when we get organized with lunch, we'll take you up on that.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, otherwise, what are people doing to get the word out? Is anybody the posters, have you emailed friends? It sounds like we're gonna get a good audience so far, I think, which is great.
I guess I get nervous about it. I mean, like I said, like the Sun River one was so good and I was like, oh, I wish there were more people here. You know, so I was like, oh, I just want to make sure that we get a good attendance. So
I've emailed everybody in the city for
Oh.
engineers and stuff, so I can shoot that out again,
That'd
just
be
as a
wonderful.
reminder.
I'd really like to have a bunch of engineers there for the afternoon presentation. The woman that's gonna do it is coming from Portland. And if everybody leaves at lunch, I'm concerned.
If you could send me like a little blurb on that, I can forward it out to our engineers and have it pass it around so they can make an effort to be there.
Okay.
So.
You have a bunch of email people with your organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sent out some more this morning to, I'll add it to our newsletter later today. But yeah, I was just thinking, wearing my outreach committee hat, I was thinking, Dave has a great email, but if folks are just willing to forward that to 5 or 10 people they think might be interested, that makes a huge difference just to get a ripple effect going. I think for a lot of people with spring break, I know that was kind of a check-in, people took time off, and now this week they're kind of like, okay, April's here. I think there's still time, even though it's next week, to get it on people's calendar. And I shared with a few contacts of just, it's 9 to 3:30, but don't be discouraged if you can't make the whole thing.
yeah.
So hopefully I'm not contributing to the all at that lunch, but just, yeah, so people know if they want to come for the first couple hours, that's totally fine. And
Or they've got a busy
Afternoon.
morning and they want to come in.
pop in the afternoon, exactly.
I mean, just the afternoon presentation and the walking tour will be
Yeah,
really a nice afternoon. So
yeah, I was excited you saw, got Pete McCaffrey to do the old mill. He's a friend and does that really well.
Yeah, I talked to him. He wanted to talk to me about what we wanted and I was just astonished at.
Yeah, it's a great tour.
Yeah.
A lot of history and they should run a safe sidewalk word. I think they're like the quickest,
That's a good.
one of the quickest to getting those things clean.
Yeah, Ben Park and Rec too, so.
Do you guys have a flyer or is it just kind of what was included in the agenda for the summit?
We do have a flyer.
Okay.
Yeah, Anthony made a nice flyer. It's
Yeah.
Where is it accessible somewhere or can somebody send it to me?
I will send it to you.
Okay,
I'll
I'll put it on.
And then the one I put in the,
Yeah, Derek, that'd be
And
great, 'cause I think it's
Yeah, I'll put it on our socials.
people.
yeah, that'd be
If you get
great.
it to me soon, I can do it
I'll get
today.
it to you this afternoon.
There's even a bus stop there, right?
Yeah, there it is.
I put it like on my LinkedIn.
there. This is the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I like
stuff like that.
I've seen that.
I don't get out much. I can't really think of too many people. This is my only organization, you guys. This is it for organization, so.
When you go for walks, if you see somebody else walking, you just need to tell them. to come.
Hey, Dave, I got it. It's
Okay,
Everybody likes a personal invitation.
It is true.
Okay, well, yeah, I just want to just keep that in mind when you're just running into people or other social situation. Don't be afraid to talk about it and, yeah, share the word. Bring spouses so they know what you do on these Invest in Thursday lunch hours. Secret society.
Bob, are others from Redmond coming? It's Kathy and
We
others.
discussed it a bunch. It's been handed out.
Yeah. You can make it.
I think I recognize some names on the.
Oh, nice.
So.
I think there's a handful, yeah. but
Nice.
Good.
I don't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Okay. Nice. Got it too.
Okay, let's move on to working group updates, which I know it'll be a little hit or miss. Outreach, we kind of talked a little bit. You've been doing more than I have. I've also put your name. Oh, I think because of the, I know, I think it was because of the sidewalk awards, I think. I was in a different headspace when I put this agenda together a week ago. Yeah, community connections.
No, nothing new.
Okay,
Working on this.
No, nothing new for transit either.
yeah, and Derek,
I have some updates.
yeah,
Oh, good.
exciting. But yeah, and you gave us your ODOT update at least, so that was good. That was the agency project input, right?
Anybody else? And then chain ring awards. I know we gave Anthony some, notes on the design last month, so I was hoping he would be here. Oh, AB joined us. Great. So yeah, anything, Mark, or anything with
No,
okay.
Nope.
Yeah, I was
I
hoping,
left it with him last meeting, but
I was hoping that he'd have some designs for us, but less feet.
Such a memorable design pitch,
Yeah.
really that sound is stuck in. my head.
it works.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want it to be sticky. Okay, external committee reports. So I don't think we have anything because the next.
Nothing, the next meeting happens to be the afternoon after our summit meeting, so it's mixed up.
I mean, I'm hoping it'll be interesting. I know that there still isn't a funding package that has been presented yet to the legislature, in regards to
Hmm.
ODOT and beyond, so there's nothing even to really kind of take a peek at yet, so I don't know if we're gonna get to see anything next week. It'd be nice, but I know a lot of people are waiting to see that.
Yeah, yeah.
See what that looks like, so, yeah, hopefully we'll have something interesting to report in May. MPO TAC, is there any meetings, Neil, or anything to report from that?
So
There was a meeting, but I missed it. I'm not sure if it just completely fell off my calendar, but it seemed like largely an update meeting with Ben, Parks and Rec, and Commute Options giving their updates.
Yeah, I was able to attend, Neil.
Great.
So Commute Options attended, they talked mostly about their Safe Routes to Schools project, a little bit about their van pool program, and a little bit about their Get There program, where they're working with employers to incentivize people to get cars. BPRD talked about the 10 major projects that they're working on. And Bob Townsend from CET, I think we're going to hear what he talked about in a few minutes. But they're expanding working hours for the buses. They're going to add a new route in Bend. They're going to start charging people for the bus, and they are going to have a transit pass required for taking the bus from after July or September. So a lot of updates.
Right, well. Derek will fill us in on the deets. Anything from any of the trail planning, Mark, from?
No, I think everything, from what I understand, it sounds like it's funded. And it sounds like they were just waiting for that one last hurdle to get through that the county was moving forward with. And I think that was pretty much, or excuse me, what I was moving forward with through the county process. And I think that was it. So,
Ben to Lava Butte.
yep.
I went to that hearing.
Hmm.
And as near as I can figure out what they were trying to do, using this years ago in the 90s, there was ODOT wanted to put a way station closer in, and they got rebuffed. And so now they built it further south. And so the attorney that got up was trying to use that as a means of opening up the entire record again, which would start the ball from the very beginning. And the planning officer that led the hearing was going to take a couple of other things under advisement, but he was not going to open the record, which would start the ball all over again. And I could tell when Winlock or whatever his name is and his attorney left the room, they were not happy campers.
So the person that was objecting to it, it was the same owner that objected.
All the way along, yeah.
Yeah.
All the way back when it was a way station and fought that through that same exact process as they are.
Right, but if they could have gotten the record reopening by using this backdoor way to get into it, it would have started the whole freaking hearing process all over again.
Correct, yep.
And the hearing officer said, I'm not going to do that. So I'm hoping that, that may be the final nail in that guy's coffin to, for the trail.
It's definitely.
Don's over there nodding.
It was-
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. Start knocking on
Dave, I want you to know Dave, I think it's Dave is his name, that put on the,
Dave.
from ODOT. He did a very good job.
Yeah, David Hampton.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
a very
I'll tell him.
Yeah. He-
Oh, yeah, Dave Amberson. He was our guy for a while. Yeah,
In
good.
fact, he thought he was gonna be here taking your place today, when I talked to him after the hearing. But anyway, but no, he did a great job. He really did. So,
Yeah, he was in Chris's job before,
Mhm.
became the planning manager.
yeah. So you can pat him on the back for me that he did a great job.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah, because there was an article in the bulletin about that too, or front page about the,
It, I was quoted in that, by the
yeah,
way.
okay. I haven't finished reading it yet, so.
Anyway, I want you to know that that reporter, if you ever see another article from him, take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
He put me in there that I was a retired transportation engineer. Well, he had,
It was AI.
the article came out on a Friday. I got a call from him on Thursday. I called him back. I wasn't close to my phone. I called him back about 20 minutes later. He then didn't return my call. So after the article came out and he picked and chose some things that I had put in a deal for that whole trail thing like 3 years ago, picked and choose. I finally got a hold of him and I said, I got a problem. I said, you put me down as retired transportation. I said, there's nothing in my letter that says what I did for a living. How did you do that? He goes, well, it just sounded like you were a retired transportation engineer. I said, don't you ever do that to me again or anybody else. Well, I was under a deadline. I said, I don't care what you were under. You don't do that stuff.
We have AI to make things up.
I even went back because I still had the letter on my computer. And I went back, did I put something?
Yeah.
No, I didn't put it. So, yeah. Clayton Prince or whatever his name is. Take it with a grain of salt because he's not very accurate.
Okay,
But anyway,
right. Well, it was nice that at least it was getting press, I think, because it's kind of one of
It is
those,
bad.
right, I mean, there's, yeah, it's
it was, yeah.
better, than flying under the radar is the worst, of when things like that are happening, so it was getting some airtime, so.
Yeah.
Upside. Okay, well, that's in process. I'm sure they'll. No comment, public meeting. Okay. And Diane, I put you on the list.
Yeah, so that was it was an interesting meeting, but it was mostly statistics about fatalities and where we stand in comparison to the three counties and where they stand in relationship to the state. And kind of going through what that messaging, what they wanted to do. So talked about whether they were going to renew the bus wraps or come up with something new. Not a lot came out of the meeting other than the next meeting will be the end of this month or sometime in May.
Okay.
No date yet.
Have they solidified funding yet? I know that was kind of an issue in the beginning, finishing the funding package.
Yeah, they were still working on funding. Maybe Neil can remind me about the funding piece, but I think they had some funding enough for the renewal, but they didn't have all of it yet.
Okay.
They were trying to decide if they want to do a new design for bus wraps or not do them at all.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Neil, or was that good?
No, that was good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's do round robin. Are you in any hurry, Derek, or
No.
you go first? Or okay. Lapine, we do not have unless you have any Lapine tidbits. South County.
Currently, I think open house is there for all the proposed roundabouts that they're adding in that section of the county. And so they have one that's right there, kind of by the business park by Sun River. There's another one that's just a little bit up more where you're turning into Caldera. And then there's one that's by the fire station out in that. And so all three of those are currently open. I'd say I'd encourage everybody here to take a look at them and see if you feel like it meets the bicycle pedestrian. I think that we have an elevated what we expect than what the county is looking at proposing. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And I know that there's maintenance and there's cost and everything else associated, but I think it's thin on that. And so I'd encourage everybody to take a look at that. If you have input towards it, I'm sure they're listening to it, and so it'd be helpful.
Is that,
Business park, right?
Yeah, there's three going in. There's
Okay,
at the
Light is
park,
the business
business
park.
park is challenging because
yeah,
they've got the school there, they got a bunch of that kind of stuff, but it's not an organized group so much, and it's a weird angle where you turn in and out. And so they have this kind of peanut design. They have like three different designs. And I wouldn't say I was part of the selection process for hiring the firm that got it. They had stakeholders come in. But it does seem solely focused on moving traffic with very little thought about moving people that aren't in a car.
that's a busy route. I mean, you have people getting in the river just not too far from there, but then also people cycling out towards Bachelor. Yeah.
Right, you have a lot of opportunities for failure.
Yeah.
And this, I think, would make it better, but it still doesn't. There's Caldera, and even though Caldera is different than Sun River, I mean, everybody sees it the same. And then the business park, because there's a lot of people there that pretty much move around on foot or bike. It's the main transportation mode in that community. And they're looking at more of a standard design than something that's more tailored for that particular community, I think. But I would suggest taking a look at it with your own eyes and seeing if you see it the same way.
I would like to get a presentation on this so that we can look at it as a committee
There's
because
an online where you can get on, you can
is
see.
the county doing this?
Yeah.
Tanya, can we get someone from the county to come and talk to us?
I could ask.
It closes the 17th. It looks like the feedback window.
There's something online.
It's a pretty good online. I got on already and
It's,
said my spiel about how bad I thought the roundabouts were, so.
well, as a traffic engineer, you probably have some.
Yeah,
The retired traffic.
maybe I'm a retired mechanical engineer, but don't give me on that, but.
But I would say that please take a look at it, read it, or take
It's
a
on the counter.
visual. I think the biggest thing that I see is the lack of communication, lack of ability to move on a grade separated pathway underneath the roundabout possibility.
If you think of the city roundabouts on 14th, the early ones, you had the bicycles jump onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's exactly what these roundabouts are. There's no clean pathway for separate bicycles, separate for pedestrians. It goes back 20 years is what they're building.
Right.
Someone send out to the group a link that we can all take a look at this.
All you gotta do is, you can find it on the Deschutes County website.
Okay.
Or, I mean, Tanya, can you?
I can find it. Yeah, this is,
Link.
sure. I
Yeah,
can
it's,
Google it and find it.
we're making our comments and suggestions, but it's more focused on land use, what land they want to use for it, but not as much on the pedestrian aspect.
And the design's already been locked of the three, I believe,
The one by the fire station.
by the fire station. The others are still open for potential changes.
It's gonna take a lot of encouragement to get some suggested changes to happen, is the feel I get.
Yeah, the one especially at the business park. You're right in that there's a lot of people that come from Sun River to go over there to walking by, whatever. There's a lot and there's just.
A lot in there now. There's.
There's just
Cars.
nothing there for bikes and pedestrians. They got one little bike path that's combined and it's poorly done.
Yeah, and also you have the school that's right there.
Yeah.
And so you have a fair amount of queuing with vehicles to take a look at, but take a look. My input is already going through a different process.
Sure.
I would encourage people to take a look at it and if you have suggestions or comments, I'm sure that they have us. I would listen to them and have a fair amount of weight associated with it. So.
Yeah, it's too bad we weren't ahead of this because.
I know, I
Like a
recall
letter.
a lot earlier, we had said that this is one of the things that BPAC should be doing is while things are in the design process, that we should be giving input. Now it's kind of like a done thing.
Yeah,
It's very frustrating.
it just came out in the last, what, 2 weeks?
And there's just a 2-week comment period. I mean, I wouldn't have known as a person in general at large.
Month, but they only announced it 2 weeks ago, and so we're already 2 weeks behind at this point.
Yeah, and it's frustrating they didn't approach us.
Yeah.
And
We are a county committee.
please, yeah, take a look at it. If you have comment, make comment. But I would.
BPAC should be doing for the county. Come on, guys. I mean,
Want to take, if you want it, my concerns associated with it, just take a look at how people would move from Sun River to get to where to all the amenities that might be associated with the business park.
Okay.
This doesn't have, and of course, we're fans of tunnels and it has opportunities there for those kind of things. And I think even possibly, don't know if I want to put this in the minutes, but opportunity for cost sharing. I've offered that before with very little interest in it.
They're doing the bare minimum and barely the bare minimum.
You can say that.
Yeah. You can say that.
I did.
But take a look
Okay.
at it and then the only other thing I have for an update, talking about tunnels. We are putting in a tunnel right now and things are going good. We had to relocate a 6-inch pressurized gas line.
Wow.
And I have never been
Way.
part of this before. And they live tap it. So they have a drill that drills through it while it's happening. I can tell you that was an interesting day.
How far away?
No smoking.
Yeah.
I know.
That was the whole thing, because if you had to evacuate, they had to evacuate a quarter mile around, which is kind of more of a standard. And Sun River during spring break are doing,
oh my gosh, that's right. Huh?
and interesting, but luckily, these people know what they're doing and it went really well, but I've been part of designs and everything for a
They've
long
been
time
doing
and
this
I've never,
They know what they're doing when it comes.
I've never had to be part of it. And I gotta say, I was impressed with how well it went.
Cool, good.
That's gonna be done before the summer season or?
Yeah, yes. I'm saying June 15, but I anticipate that it'll be done before the holiday weekend.
Oh, good,
Okay.
good. That'll be nice.
Check that out. All right, well, yeah, definitely, thank you. I know you had brought up the roundabouts before, I guess a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed, like you are in the process, and I don't know, and back in my mind now, I should have taken that as a cue to work with you and maybe.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
I
that
can nudge the
direction.
road department, for them to be more proactive for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know they got a lot going on
I mean, they don't respond to any of
and they probably, it's not their favorite thing to do either. So.
Okay. So yeah, we don't really necessarily have an opportunity to do like a united letter or anything basically at this point, but we can all individually,
I would say just,
we can say we're BPAC members,
Yeah. but it's lacking. I think it's lacking in how robust that particular area is for bike ped and to have this
Yeah.
opportunity to fix a gap that's
right?
not really going to get fixed. So.
Yeah, that's just extremely frustrating. So thank you for all that.
Sure.
Ben,
Yeah, we're just prepping for construction season between the snow showers and stuff, so swapping out some of the haul trucks. We are at 90% on a few of the wayfinding projects. So now they're just in limbo with working with other agencies like the Parks Department and stuff like that for right away. We are putting together, there is a 90% plan for greenways too, that we're getting ready and prep for. So we're gonna try to do all that work in-house so we can get more stuff accomplished with a little less money, so.
Would you be willing to talk a little bit more about the wayfinding efforts? I know it's a big like signage, identifying the routes, things like that. Is there specific areas y'all are targeting or routes right now that are getting the focus?
It's just whatever the city council is pushing right now. Excuse me, as north-south and east-west routes right now.
Okay.
We're in the process. We've got a plan set, but we're also gonna have to field fit with all the different signs and stuff that could block the wayfinding signs themselves. We're gonna also put stuff on the ground as far as hot tape that'll help as well. So there'll be multiple options as far as signs and like striping options. So
When will that wayfinding, when will we actually start putting signs and tape on the ground?
well, I was hoping we would have started in December, but right now we're waiting for an agreement within Parks and Rec as far as like setbacks, and because some of them intertwine with use pass. So they're trying to figure that out right now, and as soon as we get the go, then we're ready. So all the materials are ordered, they're on their way. We'll make up all the signs in advance, so when they push the button, we'll have half the work done. So hopefully. The greenways, they're gonna try to implement something that's gonna be a little more like you'd see in Europe as far as like vehicle restrictions and stuff like that, as far as one ways in some of them. So they're talking about possibly putting planters and stuff like that to block. So it's definitely one-way traffic. So yeah, there's gonna be some new interesting design there as far as how those are laid out. But yeah, we're gonna try to do everything in-house so we can save as much money as. So
Thanks.
so we got so far.
Right. Thank you. Redmond.
Nothing new since this group met there last month.
Okay. Did they like us? Were we-
Oh, you were a big hit.
Okay.
We were a big hit.
Yeah, yeah, again.
Thanks for lunch.
Yeah, you guys are all always.
You guys- Don't get any ideas about.
Yeah, we need to move our summits to Redmond now.
Yeah.
But we got the sandwich situation taken care of.
Up city.
Yeah, we'll just email Sarah. She'll figure out our lunch problems, I think.
You know, I don't know, I haven't asked Sarah where she got that, but just based on my own
I think
personal knowledge.
she said she got them at the schoolhouse produce.
Oh, then you just saved me from embarrassment.
Cause
I was gonna say she got them at Sister's Smokehouse.
But the cookies are from Safeway.
Thank you for.
Yeah.
Tested and.
Yeah,
Exactly. Quality control.
Okay, sisters, I skipped myself. Our roundabout is still, it's functioning. I've seen some creative driving in there. Maybe a couple of design tweaks that are needed, but again, it's been really great. I'm seeing a lot more pedestrians use it, and the test will be the Parks and Rec opened their new community center in the old elementary school, which is on
Right.
that corner. Cause that spot really hadn't been accessed very much since the elementary school moved in the fall. And, so now there's programming and events and daycare and all that stuff going on there. And then on the other side, there's nothing developed on the southeast side, but beyond there is our campground. And so it'll be really interesting to see visitors using that as well, because it was something, obviously, as a visitor, they just totally avoided that intersection because there were no crosswalks. It was horrible, or it was scary. There were crosswalks, they were just scary. And having that attraction I'll just be curious to see how the community center evolves. Because it's gonna be either open every day of the week, it's gonna be early evening, much wider hours than a school had traditionally. So, yeah, it'll just be interesting to see pedestrian and bike flow in that area evolving, hopefully in a positive way.
So when you take a look at those roundabouts, and living there, do you see the same amount of traffic choosing to go through town, or are people now using the not called
Yeah, we don't have stats yet, because that's, the alternative route.
Yes.
It's not finished. We're gonna start construction, on the Barclay, the
Yep.
parallels downtown this summer, or actually this month or next month, I think. And it'll be in 2 phases. And we have money for the first phase, and that phase is going to, at the intersection, we have to make a left turn from Locust onto Barclay if you're going westbound. That is going to make that a priority turn, so you do not have to stop or wait or anything. And so the priority will be to make that sweeping left turn.
Okay.
And the southbound traffic on Locust, Camp Pope will have to stop. There will be a new stop sign there. So that I think will improve that, and, and then the process on Barclay is to kind of iron that out, and we'll go into more detail in that next month at our meeting at Sisters, in May. So yeah, put that on your calendars that we will be in Sisters in May. And, but yeah, I haven't, it's all kind of anecdotal right now. I don't think anybody's taking any, like my husband, for instance, like we're using that now because it's, we can make a left turn. And I was like, oh, just go straight. Because if we're going to Hoodoo, right, we're like, we don't need to, he's, oh, it's still faster through downtown. I'm like, oh, point is to like get people out of downtown.
You should call it a scenic byway too, because actually it's some of the best mountain
Yeah.
views from over there. I had to go to Fica Coffee and I was like, God, I'd forgotten how gorgeous the mountains are from over here.
Yeah.
Scenic byway.
And so yeah, we'll see. Because it definitely has not been posted as a bypass or anything, right? So it's just more word of mouth and people traveling through and what their personal preference.
I'm wondering if, what the reasons I asked is if people are starting to use it more, then it'll actually start showing up on your phone and your mapping.
Mm,
Right.
Preferred route that have less speed
Yeah,
and less time.
yeah,
So I was wondering, like, when that all starts to happen,
yeah.
map will automatically go, take this, do that to
Well,
keep.
imagine the summer when the event season starts.
That's
But that will
start
be
to drive
interesting.
traffic.
With the grade school, of course, it's never been open in the summertime.
Yeah.
That's when you get most of your traffic, and now it's a rec center where you're gonna have, that is gonna change the dynamics
Yeah.
in that area quite a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the rec center is more of people coming in and out, for the day, so hopefully not in a bad way, but. I did advocate, there's a bike path that parallels, Highway 242. From downtown all the way to the edge of town and the schools and everything. A nice separated bike path that's been there for years, and there's a new development there where they're building houses and apartments, and so part of the deal was for them to reroute that. That part of their property is supposed to be green space, but for whatever reason, I wasn't involved, they're supposed to reroute that, so it wasn't just a straight shot that was right next to the highway. They're supposed to kind of inset it and have it a little more meandering and in the trees. And they did the first phase last year, and it's like, okay, it's fine. And then they did the second phase in the last few months. I just hadn't ridden my bike out there, and I went out there last week, and when they tie it back into an intersection, crosswalk and then continuing on to the bike path, it was horrible.
So you're talking 242 where it hits Hood Avenue?
No, where it hits Brooktown, so west of there.
Okay.
That ends. So what happened there, it tees in, they kind of built a newer path going up to north that dead ends, but it tees into it, so you're still about 10 feet away from the intersection, so you have to hit that and then make a hard left to kind of get to the crosswalk, and then make a hard right to get on the crosswalk to continue the bike path. So it was just. So I went and talked to staff about that. Finally, I think, hopefully, I tried to be. And so I was told, they went and looked at it, and they kind of, saw my problem with it, and they said that we'll fix it. Unfortunately, it was part of their master plan, and for the development built it. And it got approved, as part of everything else. So it's on us, the city now, to pay for the fix. So, which I've been kind of pushing, a sister's BPAC, and I was like, this thing's I saved a few dollars here. So I was promised that the city will go back and reroute the intersection.
We'll ask next month.
Yeah, we will see. Well,
It's really hard
so
to,
that was frustrating to see.
it's really hard to visualize some of those things just unless you've got a lot of practice looking at them
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're walking, it's not that big of a deal, but if you're traveling at any speed on a bicycle bicycles aren't designed to make hard right turns and make a hard left turn without falling over. And also it's a bike path. It's supposed to be a lane of transportation. You wouldn't design a road like that. So, the meandering, that's okay, but it was that, and also it was just gonna make people dart across that road 10 or 15 feet away from the intersection. So anybody making a right turn was not going to see that there was somebody just cutting across, right? There was absolutely no incentive to follow the path, and it was gonna, we're gonna have more people living there, and all the schools are out on the other side of that path. So the use of that path is just gonna increase, and I didn't want anybody to get hurt. So hopefully we can get that fixed soon. So that was my sister's drama. ODOT,
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you've heard me talk about it before. I think the last meeting that I attended, I talked about the active transportation plan for Ben Sisters Redmond. So finally, the RFP for that is out on our Oregon Buy system. So
All right,
yeah, getting pretty excited to kick that project off.
so not gonna do that, in-house, gonna have somebody else to do that. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a good thing.
I know it's already natural with Chris being in here and now you, but just, I think, speak for myself, I think love to be a part of that process as early as possible. And
definitely.
Yeah, let's just
Same.
reiterate that, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume everybody here is gonna be
Okay,
involved with that. Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I mean, my hopes aren't high. I mean, my hopes are high, but I'm also realistic. I know that there's a lot of hurdles in that project, but this is the first step.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough project for sure. I mean, based on what you were talking about earlier with the bend the lava butte path, those types of issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of private landowners, so. Okay.
Well, we helped push that through and get it in the TSP this last update though, so it's great to see some forward motion with it.
Yeah.
Right, no offense, Parks and Rec, but we do have commute options.
So
Oh,
if we're,
Sorry,
if that finishes the process and that loop gets closed, what's the construction time for the bed lava pathway? Do you have a time period for that?
I don't. Yeah, I'd have to talk to David Hamilton about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Sometime in the next millennium, they might be able to fund it.
I think it's fully funded. It's
Yeah.
just whether it's
Yeah, when it's
twenty
gonna start.
26 is kind of what I was thinking,
Yeah, that sounds about right from what I've heard, I think.
right?
Hmm.
So we hope it'll be done by 2028.
I could actually run down the hall. I know he's down there right now.
That's okay. After the meeting, maybe I'll bug you.
Okay.
okay, Evie's here with commute options.
Yeah, hi everyone, and sorry for being late. I came straight from another meeting, but it's good to be here. So a couple of updates. We have a lot of events coming up in May. Starting with the May Walk and Roll Challenge, which I probably mentioned last time, but that's running from May 5th to 16th, and it's hosted through Get There, so hosted virtually on the Get There platform. But it's open to everyone. You can log all walk and roll trips throughout that period. You don't have to already be set up and Get There through an employer or anything. So we have secured some fun prizes from local businesses for that challenge. So we have Foot Zone, Rancher Butcher Chef, El Sancho, some local coffee shops. So hopefully that will help incentivize folks to get involved. We've also got some fundraisers coming up on May 2nd. The first Friday block party at the Commons will feature a fundraiser for commute options. So there will be $1 from each beer sold donated to us. So hope to see people there. And then also on May 6th from 5 to 7, at Cascade Lakes Brewery on the east side, there's also going to be a fundraiser for commute options. So both of those, and then the May walk and roll school day is May 7th. So you can contact Marika at commuteoptions.org to for more information if you're interested in attending any of the May walk and roll to school days. And then lastly, we'll be at the Rubbish Renewed Fashion Show on May 10th. And those are kind of the main events we have going on throughout May. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Eva.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
all right.
And I have one to add to that, Eva. It's the walking tour that we went on. So that's gonna be May 8th. Still kind of planning this out, but we're gonna do an open house at Hawthorne Station from 11 to 4, and that's the showcase. We just redesigned the entire back parking lot, took the buses off the Safeway side of the street to make that a more accessible. With it historically, that was just challenging with 2 buses and 2 lanes of cars and bike and ped and a basically 2-lane street. So we have new shelters, better accessibility, new bike rack, a new little bike fix-it station, which has not been vandalized yet. And it's been 4 months. Actually, I had a bet with the security guard. And I lost terribly. I was like, 3 weeks, that tube's gone. It's still there. So maybe these are my Portland days of seeing it get vandalized so quickly. Everything's looking really good, and we're going to showcase that, invite some partners like City Bend, Central Bend District, to highlight some of the new projects there, like 2nd Street, Franklin Avenue, Hawthorne Bridge Crossing. There's just a lot of things that are up and coming in that area. And as part of that, we're going to work with Commute Options and the City of Bend Accessibility Advisory Committee, which I vice chair that committee, and do a little walk and roll event around that neighborhood through Juniper Park and then around Franklin, and then crossing the flashing beacons in front of the Safeway, which is an ODOT facility, and then going to Dogwood food carts.
Nice.
So, and then we're gonna get a couple city councilors there, still kind of confirming that, but that'll be from 4 to 5. It's pretty much lined up. I just need to get a flyer out. So that's.
Is there information about that somewhere?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's coming.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we have another city councilor that's available to attend during that time. And once I confirm that, I'll get some communications out. And then as we do that, CET is working on a new logo. I wanted to these are some kind of preliminary designs like our old logo. You guys remember it? It was like a big atom. It doesn't really represent Central Oregon that well. Let me find it on my computer. It was like that, lowercase letters. I thought it was a flower for the first 5 years that I worked here. And somebody's like, that's actually an atom. I was like, oh, okay. So we wanted to do something, with more mountains. It needs to still be simple. People are like, put a bus on the mountain and have it go down and like 8 bikes and people walking. And I'm like, no. So wanted to get you guys' feedback on that, pass them down, just let me know, circle your favorite one. We're getting community feedback on these, and then we're gonna go back to the designer. We're gonna send some,
I'll keep this one. You can have these. How about-
and then we're gonna
I don't.
in it, and then 1 or 2 that they like the best. And then we'll also have like mountains on the side of our buses. It's on a gray background because Eva, you've seen this. Neil, I sent Neil this same thing just a little bit ago. But yeah, I don't have any comments on that. What you guys like, don't like, could we add something to it?
I guess I'm really drawn to the circles. Just,
Yeah.
I feel like that's, to me, movement in many ways. And then I like one.
Anybody have any top favorites? I can jot this down and
1 and 5, although 5 is basically 1, just in a different color.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe it's good to get the orange in.
it's on,
The black on 5 isn't gonna show up very well.
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
it's on a white background.
you're right.
I also think about the amount of ink you're gonna use,
Yeah,
everything you're putting it on. I like one myself.
okay.
Yeah, I like 1. I don't know that I like the font, but I like one better.
Did you like that kind of more angular font?
No,
Me out a little bit, but.
The angular one, it's kind of mean.
Production manager.
Okay, all right, so that's that softer.
A little angry.
yeah, I don't like the font,
Like the idea-
any of them particularly, but I like the first, like.
Four.
Cause those two diagonals don't go up and that's.
Yeah, and we're trying to do kind of the road with like a,
The road.
of the map.
No, but I have to think about it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
Think about
A
it.
waterfall?
it could be.
That?
River, Black River, you know, White River. All right, yeah, so, I mean, if you hate it, tell me now, but if you're like, hey, that looks good, and we'll make some improvements. I think we're gonna kind of shade some of the mountains. It's kind of just like a line drawing right now, just as a concept, so.
Somebody might give you a bad time about a road between Middle and.
Yeah. Like road two, there's like a road that goes up there.
Wilderness
Road to
there, there ain't no
top.
road there.
Yeah, I know. It's a path. Let's call it a path. Okay,
Yeah, I like 1 and 2.
1 and 2, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, just get a better font and yeah,
Yeah, and we're gonna change around the fonts and stuff and look at something that works better with.
I mean, 3 and 4 will look good when you make the trucker hats.
Uh-huh, right. Yeah, and we could use a variety of these
Yeah.
too for.
The Public Works, this is the new Public Works logo with the truck.
Oh.
Yeah, the challenge with this is to get this embroidered on a hat, there's only one company that does it that has a 8-needle embroider because it's 8 different
Yeah.
colors. and You have to do it in Portland. So it's like impossible to recreate that in a black and white. So these will be a lot simpler. Okay, I wanted to do a couple other updates. So we talked about fairs, that's October 2nd. Throughout the summer, we're gonna be doing a lot of outreach with our businesses, Deschutes County, we had a fair program with you guys, getting you all the cards. We'll revisit that here pretty soon. And then City of Bend, all those low income advocates for people with disabilities, older adults, we'll be working with them to get them like discounted fares. We just have an RFP that we're gonna put out for a new fare product. So depending on what we get, I mean, it'll obviously have a phone app. We're also looking to see if somebody could just tap a credit card and get a fare at like a kiosk machine. Those are really expensive, but that's kind of the next generation of technology. So, it's one fewer app to download if you're just using it to like go up to the mountain one day,
Yeah.
right? And not a local or something like that. And then we're gonna do, so June 2nd, that's a big date for us. That's when our bin services are gonna go to earlier times, those pre-pandemic earlier schedule, starting at 6:30 in the morning and going till 7:30 at night. So finally bringing that back. And then during that week, June 2nd through 8th, we're gonna do like a tri-transit week. We're gonna do an event and hopefully partner with some folks like Commute Options and some of the other partners in town to do some fun events and promotions and things like that. I think June 3rd is World Bike Day. So we're gonna do like a put your bike on the bus. Here's how to load your bike on the bus. So we'll be doing like demos and events. I think the 4th is like World Environment Day, so kind of a climate theme. And then that Friday of that first week of June is National Donut Day. So it'd be like, how many donuts?
Gonna hand out donuts?
Yeah, we are. How many donuts how many donut shops are there on Route 1? We'll do like a donut scavenger hunt. So I'm just trying to kind of play off some of these things. And then I talked about the May 8th event and legislative update. I'll have a better update next month. We had Transit Day at the Capitol, the Oregon Transit Association. We had about 60 agencies and advocates there all day there Tuesday, meeting with legislatures and talking about an increase to the statewide transportation improvement fund. Looking like we're in a good direction, not quite to the amount that we're wanting to make transit agencies. A lot of transit agencies are facing deficits and budget cuts. Like if they don't get additional funding, they're gonna have to roll back services, probably 30%, to 40%. So it's pretty dire, just inflation's caught up, all the CARES funding from COVID is all gone and spent. So we're kind of like in this zone where everybody's trying to expand, but they can't because of the funding and the federal side. Nobody knows what's going on with that.
knows what's going on.
So we're hoping to get it tripled through 2032. In reality, it'll probably get doubled, but double is better than status quo. So I'll have an update on that.
How about
next month.
ridership?
Ridership's been good. It's climate, it's, near pre-pandemic levels. So at least ours is because we've had free fares. Once we start charging fares, it's gonna go back down, but we'll do our part.
And do you know what the fare structure will be yet, or?
It's gonna be, I think, like $2 a trip for Bend routes, and I think like our community connectors, Dial-A-Ride, $4 a trip. We can only charge twice as much for Dial-A-Ride as our fixed routes. But those are way more expensive because we're taking people to and from their houses and things like that. We are gonna increase fares for the transit to trail service. Those services, recreation ones, all start in mid-June. That's gonna go to a $10 flat fee. It used to be $5 one way and like $8 round trip. It's just gonna be $10, whether you ride it once or you ride it back down.
Are you gonna do an annual pass?
We haven't talked about that, but I will write that down because that would be a good idea. We do it for the ski bus, annual pass. Yeah, that would be a really good idea. And I think, we did get a little pushback from Cog Wild about like, our fares have to be higher. So can you guys like increase your fares a little bit just to make it a little more competitive? And then also provide maybe some potential like more service to like lower income areas. The park and ride on the west side was like, that's like a more affluent kind of place where people are just gonna drive their Mercedes and hop on but at least they're getting on the bus and parking their car and not riding it up. So I think we're gonna look at like extending that route to go into Hawthorne Station to allow access. Because currently it just parked at the park and ride, and our ski bus does that, like the first run of the day and a couple of runs, it comes back into Hawthorne. So if somebody needed to ride the bus to get to the ski bus, we don't have any routes that currently serve the park and ride. So a lot of fun stuff. We're also gonna order an extra bike trailer, just to have as like a backup, and also if we needed to, like busy weekends, have a secondary service up there, because it gets maxed out. And people get worried about like, oh, I'm gonna go all the way there and then I can't fit my bike on, because it's too busy. So that's underway as well, but yeah, looking forward to that. Those lot, and thanks for the feedback on the logo. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
We missed you, so that was awesome.
I know, yeah, I've been busy with Oregon Transit Association stuff. It's been a busy legislative year.
Okay, so super late, yeah. Oh, you were right on time, and then we got all chatty, so that's okay. Thank you for staying on and late, and obviously Summit is in 1 week. So Dave, if you need anything, bug us.
Okay.
Send out the emails if, last minute things, stuff like that. Reminders are good.
It'd be great to have a lunch savior, so.
Yeah.
And I reached out to our guitar player. He does a little catering van. He's really good. It's called Wild West Catering. I just said like, hey, are you around that day just in case something could work out and you could park across the street? But he's busy right now serving lunch.
Yeah.
He just goes to businesses and things like that.
Oh,
Parks in their parking lot. So that could be an option. He does like good salads and stuff and things like that. So if I hear anything in the next day or two,
Okay.
either a yes or a no, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
And then you're gonna get coffee, Dave, that morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Derek.
Got paid for?
Coffee, and it's paid for, and
Thank you.
Bob's gonna pick it up. So.
Excellent.
Pick it up on a bus?
No.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and I'll see hopefully everybody in a week.
Yes.
Yep. And I got a 2 PM, so I got a jet. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the construction.
I tried. We're really
Gonna
on
be
time
on the
then.
fall of 26.
But I had another meeting and it got canceled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'd like to be there to help set up.
Yeah, and if-
On this.
The land use process.
Thanks, everybody.
They'll give.
Thanks.
Oh, right, I have to log you off. Oh, look at you.
These are like paper cups. that-
Yeah.
I will take.
I guess,
Yeah, thank
you look sick again. I didn't want to like.
Yeah.
I